Captain Craig Underhill is facing the gut-wrenching possibility that he may have killed a squadron mate.
I tell you, that is just a terrible feeling. Fratricide was something that the Eagle community took very seriously.
Underhill and his flight lead, Rico Rodriguez, are now closing on a second unidentified bogey. Without confirmation the plane is hostile, he can't fire.
I go from aim 7 to aim 9, back to guns, and as I'm going through about 4,000 feet on this guy, he rolls and pulls. It does about a 135 slice back into me.
The mystery plane breaks hard into Underhill. Despite the aggressive maneuver, Underhill checks his fire. He and Rico are being forced into a classic merge with the unidentified aircraft. Underhill climbs, positioning himself 9,000 feet above Rico. Rico works to gain visual identification. Underhill keeps the bogey locked up on radar, poised for a missile shot if Rico confirms the target is hostile.
So I will put my target detection box that's generated by the radar on the threat and see if I can VID this guy from, beyond visual range. If I can get a VID before we hit the merge, that gives Mole an opportunity to take a shot and then get this over with.
Underhill's F-15 is still IDing the bogey as a friendly. 9,000 feet below him, Rico closes head-on with the mystery plane, eyes outside the cockpit.
I was committed to the merge and to get as close as possible so as to establish the ID.
As the jets thunder past each other, Rico catches sight of the full silhouette.
I could see the Iraqi colors of his tail fin, the flag, MiG-29 silhouette. Call that it's a MiG-29. I start a left-hand turn. He starts a left-hand turn.
As each pilot struggles to turn inside his opponent, the fight descends. The MiG-29 pilot is at a slight advantage in this kind of fight. But with the ground rushing up at him, he may not be able to turn long enough to exploit his one strength.
So Rico and him are now off to the races going downhill. As Rico slides in, the guy rolls and pulls again, and now they're probably heading northwestish in a 135 slice as Rico's trying to get in position to fire on this guy.
It's a classic dogfight. Not what the F-15 was designed to do, but well within its capability. From 8,000 feet, the fight spirals towards the deck.
As the fight migrates from the 8,000, 7,000, 6,000, below 5,000, and continues to drop down lower, the desert floor starts to become a definite factor.
Too close to use an aim 7, Rodriguez fights to position himself for a heat-seeking sidewinder shot. The ground rushes toward the Iraqi pilot. He knows he must brake in some direction. Abruptly, he rolls over and dives into a split S, daring the American to give chase. Rico doesn't bite. He skillfully coordinates the stick and rudder, pitching the F-15 vertical into a perch position to pounce on the Iraqi when he pulls out.
And before he actually hits perpendicular, he hit the desert floor, causing a fireball that just tumbles and tumbles and tumbles for what seems like an eternity to me.
Splash Fulcrum 2.
Found ourselves in two what I would call less than traditional scenarios for what the F-15 was built to do in the sense of long range, beyond visual range shooting.
Regardless, the victories demonstrate that in almost any scenario, the F-15 is a superb fighter aircraft. As the air war marched on, F-15 Eagle crews continued their dominance in the skies of Iraq. With their protection, strike aircraft continued pounding command and control bunkers, radar installations, and anti-aircraft gun and missile sites. F-15 pilots accounted for 13 air-to-air victories in the first 2 days of the war. Nearly all achieved thanks to the Eagle's unmatched capability for beyond visual range, or BVR, combat, the culmination of nearly a century of technological breakthroughs in aerial warfare.
As a result of all the advancements in electronic warfare and systems and surveillance, the Gulf War was the first time where we saw 2/3 of the air battle kills on the part of the U.S. and Allied forces were done by beyond visual range AIM-7 missiles.
In the early days of air combat, dogfighting was done close in with guns. As the missile age dawned, air combat became a more remote experience as the kill range skipped from yards to miles. Introduced during the Vietnam War, identification friend or foe equipment became a mandatory tool of modern air combat as dogfighting slipped beyond the range of human vision.
Both the U.S. and the North Vietnamese aircraft had IFF systems, which were transponders that said, hello, I'm a friendly, or I'm not a friendly. And that would help you figure out who's what we call red and blue. Because the worst thing you would want is for a blue friendly to shoot down a blue friendly, which actually did occur a couple of times in the Vietnam Air War.
A transponder inside the plane is set with a code that transmits a certain frequency. If you're not squawking the same frequency, you're probably not a friend. When used in conjunction with E-3 Sentry AWACS planes, IFF was highly effective, making BVR kills possible.
With your setup, you would make sure that the AWACS understands where the friendlies are and where the bad guys are, and you would do a screen concept where you'd move forward and knock down any of the adversaries.
On January 26th, a flight of Eagles on the hunt over western Iraq will utilize this advanced technology to spectacular effect in a thrilling, beyond visual range dogfight. January 26, 1991. 4 F-15C Eagles soar over western Iraq. The flight lead is Captain Rory Drager with his wingman, Captain Tony Schiavi. Element lead is Captain Cesar Rodriguez with his wingman, Captain Bruce Till. West of Baghdad, at the northernmost portion of their cap rotation, AWACS picks up activity over H-2, a busy Iraqi airfield.
The first call we get is there's 4 aircraft taking off from H-2 and sort of heading to the northeast.
The Americans point their radars to the west in the direction of the airfield.
We basically each do a sort of delayed 90-degree turn. So now that our 4-ship wall is now running, to the west-northwest.
They form a wall of Eagles, flying line abreast across a span of 10 miles. This allows the Americans to mass their firepower while giving them the most coverage with their radars.
Everybody has their responsibilities. Some guys are looking low at the radar, some guys are looking high with the radar, so that we can make sure that we're covering anything that's flying from the surface of the ground to 50,000 feet.
Sure enough, 4 long-range radar contacts. There are no known friendlies in the area. These guys are probably MiGs. The Americans throttle up full military power. The deafening roar of 8 Pratt & Whitney turbofan engines echoes above the clouds. Though the enemy is far beyond visual range, the Eagles have spotted their prey. Drager wants to maintain the element of surprise. He issues a key order to his flight.
Let's keep our radars in sweep. Let's make sure we have everything sort of figured out and know how many of them there are and what we need to do from a targeting perspective.
A premature radar lock is a surefire way to scare off the enemy before they're within missile range.
Just like we have a radar